I don't know how I feel about it, because it's like, this movie is like White Guilt the movie. Like, look at these officers beat these black people down. Look at how bad they feel. Look at the fact that when they did the court case for the police brutality, they got off scotch-free. Does that make you mad? Does it make you feel like you're a terrible white person? Does it make you want to die? It's kind of how I feel about it. So, the main thing about Detroit is that it is a historical movie that depicts the events of the Detroit riots, starting all the way from the beginning, going into the famous Algiers Motel residence, and ending at the conclusive court trial case that happens with the 3 officers. So this movie is overall super hard to watch. Yes, disclaimer, I'm not black, but damn, this movie hits you right where it should. I guess there's a lot of problems that I have with the movie, but let's start with some of the things that it did very well. This movie gives you a lot of emotions. It's basically 2 hours and 40 minutes of what the did they just do? It's focused so much on portraying the injustice of Detroit at the time that oftentimes I feel like it overpowers the rest of the movie and fails to deliver a good story in exchange for making us feel like terrible, terrible people for the entire duration of the movie. For instance, it focuses very much on the Algiers Motel incident, where if you didn't know, 3 police officers go in and fatally kill 3 people in that room, along with fatally injuring and beating the rest of the people inside that motel, with the reason being that they believe there's a sniper in that room and they try to interrogate and get that information out. The problem is that they spend about an hour of the whole movie inside this motel, and they frequently go back and forth between the amount of people that are lined up against the wall ready to be beaten and cutting to the people that are actually being beaten. In terms of characters and their performance, I think Boyega does pretty good. He plays a security officer, but he's black, so part of the tension is like, he's on the side of the police, and the police is mostly white, but he's a security guard, so he kind of looks like a police officer, but he's also black, so he gets to be kind of on both sides, and he does a good job of like portraying that amount of tension of being like, oh, I can try and save these guys, but I can't overextend my power, because if I do, the white police will think I'm just sticking up for them, so they'll kill me. But if I side with the police officers too much, then the black people will think that I'm like some sellout Uncle Tom guy. So he has to play that balance, and he does a pretty good job of that. You've got Falcon from the Captain America series, and he plays a veteran, and you get to watch Falcon just get the shit beat out of him by like this cop. Like I'm talking like his face is just being slammed to the table, or like he's being kicked by this cop and just being thrown around while the cops think he's like some pimp pimping out the 2 white girls. There's like 10 minutes of this. It's so guilty. The other characters just don't really stand out to me because they just all get tortured. It is really hard to watch. I feel like Catherine Bigelow just went off her high rocker and just told these police officers, like, okay, man, this is what I want you to do, okay? Just think, right now you're a white police officer and you just hate black people. Like, you hate black people and you want to, like, kill them. But you're also, like, a police officer and you're on the side of the law, so you don't want to beat them up too bad. This movie doesn't have a lot of focus either. The cast is 111 people in total, and that's everybody. It's very difficult to focus between characters because it bounces back and forth between character A and character B. I'm watching John Boyega, now I'm watching Falcon from Captain America, now I'm going back to Finn from Star Wars, and now I'm going to this guy, and now I'm going to the 2 white girls. Too much time is spent bouncing back between characters that I don't get a real good focus on someone. I don't have anyone to attach myself to share the experience with, so I'm left feeling like I'm watching some sort of strange derived torture porn. In addition to this lack of focus, I just feel like it relies too much on the torture rather than talk about the entire events of Detroit. The Detroit riots are actually a very complex event, and it's based off decades of tension between cops and the community inside, and there's so much history, so much rich history that they could have delved into, but they chose to focus only on this one event, which is sort of an injustice of itself. Overall, I think this movie is, although a very good attempt at, attempting to depict the events that happened here, overall, I just feel like it could have done better, and it could have done a better way of having the audience be there and truly understanding what was going on. I give it a 7 out of 10. It is an alright experience, but it is a harrowing experience, and I definitely advise people who are sensitive to these kinds of things to try and avoid this movie if possible.
Melvin, you want to go home?
What happened at the motel?
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! What are you gonna do? It's crushing you.